community resources. Leveraging technology by utilizing virtual programming and other technologies to reach isolated older adults and enhance service delivery. Increasing outreach and marketing to improve awareness and uptake of community care services, especially among those most in need. Enhancing transportation options to provide better transportation to connect older adults in service or transportation deserts to essential services. And supporting COVID recovery through the use of community care services to help older adults recover from the impacts of the COVID pandemic and avoid the negative effects of isolation. NYC Aging budgeted $179.2 million to support the community care plan across FY22 through FY25, which is largely financed using temporary COVID-19 pandemic-related federal stimulus funds that must be used by the end of calendar year 2024. Yet, the department has not seen any major funding increases since the plan's announcement to finance its specific needs. In the FY25 adopted plan, $4.8 million in baseline funding was added to increase reimbursement rates for home-delivered meals, and $12.2 million in funding was added in FY25 to replace expiring federal funding for older adult centers and restore funding that had been previously cut, with no additional funding added to expand services identified under the plan. In its FY25 preliminary budget response, the council called for a $78.2 million additional funding for home care, case management, to increase reimbursement rates for home-delivered meals, to invest in capital improvements at older adult centers, and to restore funding previously cut for older adult centers. These investments, along with long-term, community-based planning, are essential to the health and well-being of older New Yorkers. To make that point, I'd like to read something we received from Educational Alliance staff about a NORC in Manhattan. Through its boots-on-the-ground work, including home visits and community nursing, Co-op Village NORC staff are able to reach older adults who become isolated from their community. In a recent client satisfaction survey, one member shared that the Co-op Village NORC case manager and nurse, quote, saved my life by reaching out to me when I was in a deep, dark, prolonged depression, end quote. This person has once again become an active member post-pandemic, reconnecting with friends and enjoying exercise and education workshops. While I don't want to take up too much time with my opener, we received quite a few anecdotes assembled by service providers testifying to the importance of this work. They all highlight the significant and positive impact that OACs and NORCs have on older adults. They appreciate the variety of activities, including art, ceramics, dance, exercise, and educational workshops, which help them stay physically, mentally, and emotionally healthy. Many also express gratitude for supportive and friendly staff, the sense of community, and the opportunities for socialization and learning. Virtual classes are particularly valued by those with mobility issues. Overall, these programs provide structure, improve well-being, and combat isolation. Ensuring the longevity and growth of these programs is essential to ensuring the quality of life of older New Yorkers now and to come. My legislation is concerned with the city's long-term plan for the growing older adult population. It is imperative that we are prepared to serve those New Yorkers who have given so much to our communities, and I look forward to the administration's feedback on our vision for older New Yorkers. At this hearing, the committee is also interested in addressing the unique needs of older adults to ensure they can age in place with dignity. This includes an overview of how these needs are being met, how plan funding has been used, and how NYC Aging is planning for continued growth of the city's older adult population. Additionally, the committee seeks an overview of virtual programming and the use of technology to reach as many older adults as possible and reduce the impacts of social isolation. Thank you to the members of the Aging Committee who have joined us today. We've also been joined by Councilmember Salam. I'd also like to thank my staff, Casey Addison and Andrew Wright, and Aging Committee staff, Christopher Pepe, Chloe Rivera, Julia Haramis, and Saimil Hamid. I will turn it over to the committee counsel now to administer the oath.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Commissioner.
Good afternoon.
Now, in accordance with the rules of the Council, I will administer the affirmation to the witnesses from the mayoral administration. Commissioner, please raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this committee, and to respond honestly to council members' questions?
I do.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Thank you for that opening. We're going to try to answer as many of those questions through the testimony, and then I'm sure that the testimony will beg other questions that we will be addressing, so thank you for that. Good afternoon, Chair Hudson, members of the City Council. Great to see you again, CM Banks, and also Salami. It's been great to see you. And I like when I see you in your own respective communities. So before I say who I am, I'm going to say that in honor of Older Americans Act Month, one of the things that we have done at NYC Aging is create certificates of appreciation precisely for what you were talking about, Council Member Chair Hudson. And it is acknowledging the valuable work that OACs and NORCs do for older adults. And everyone in NYC Aging staff, not only the community service staff, but everyone is required to go out to the 316 sites and give them a certificate. And why is that important? Because many of our staff, are counting, looking at books and paper and administered, and they might not know, or it might have been a while before they knew exactly how the services are being delivered in the community. And I think it's essential that they know, so that they'll know what all of that paperwork that they do inside, what does it look like and materialized in the community. It's been eye-opening for a lot of our staff, but it is also a way to making sure that we are not disconnected from what we do every day, which is to serve older adults. So I'm going to go back to my testimony, all right? I'm Lorraine Colte Vasquez. I'm the Commissioner of Aging, as you all know, and my pronouns, which I always resist because it's a generational thing, are she and ella. And we have this opportunity to discuss with you NYC Aging's community care plan, something that we're really proud of, and our vision for aging services for older adults today, but also into the future, because we know what the growth is. At its heart, the community care plan was developed to comprehensively address the needs and realities of an aging population. This plan is inextricably linked to the city's overall goal of increasing life expectancy post-COVID, and also public health successes, which means that older New Yorkers are healthier, living longer, and spending a greater portion of their lives as older adults. So it's really an interesting thing, and I'm going off my topic again, off my notes. It's an interesting thing because we saw longevity reduce overall for the city. And one of the things that our partner in the Department of Health was saying, okay, how do we all work towards increasing longevity at the same time that the older adult population is exploding? So it's one thing that we're all looking at. So our post-COVID programming is key. We cannot promote policy solutions to improve people's health when they are young and middle-aged without also ensuring that there is a robust, supportive social service structure in place to meet the needs when they become older adults. The reality is that New Yorkers want to age in place. They want to live in their homes and in the communities that they help build, and that they're living longer in this process. The community care plan, as the chairwoman aptly stated, was developed in 2021 as part of a recognition that the growing and changing landscape of older adult population would require new approaches to ensure that New York City supports older adults as they age in place in their homes and communities. This allowed NYC Aging to build on existing community care elements that were already in place. None of these are new services, but it is the way we're looking at those services. The plan was released in conjunction with the 2021 Older Adult Center and NORC's Naturally Occurring Retirement Communities request for proposal, which expanded the number of centers and resources for older adults. The goal was to grow the existing NYC Aging network of programs and services to be more responsive to the current and anticipated community needs of older adults. In the first years, we focused on right-sizing congregate services and better aligning the realities of aging services that we learned at the end of the pandemic, including having providers follow model budgets. We created a model budget. We said this is what is required to serve older adults, because before we had budgets at all levels and very unequal. And we also then did strive for salary parity so that we could have a workforce that had fair salaries across the board. That's to say that they're still inadequate, but nevertheless, we've been working towards salary parity. This resulted in an increase of the number of older adult centers with a focus on communities where aging population was growing. In the subsequent years, we prioritized linkages and referral pathways to services between providers so that nearby programs can benefit from the resources and address community needs. As a matter of fact, that was built into the RFP. We increased outreach citywide services, and then we realized that we needed to do something else, which was a public education campaign, which we called Join Us, and to work with providers to either do their, and also to do their own advertising. Last year, we also developed the New York City Aging Program, Transportation Program, through an RFP, which ensures that every community has access to individual and group rides with a citywide provider who can supplement the need. At the same time, NYC Aging also developed the vision for an age-inclusive New York with the goal of delaying and/or avoiding entirely the reliance on institutional care as an option for older adults. Again, I'm going to go off the record. You know, as I've told you in the past, that when these services were built, the city's composition and the nation's composition was very different. And so that community care was not something that people thought of intuitively, but with the multicultural rise in this country and in this city, we see that community care, because that is culturally syntonic with those communities where it was not an approach that may have been in the past. Let me go back to where I am. Relying on older institutional care. New York Aging envisions a New York City where older adults can benefit from all the cultural, art, and entertainment that the city offers, coupled with supports, care, and services to live their lives in the home and in community with dignity throughout their lifetime. Comprehensive community care reflects the languages and cultural needs of older New Yorkers when considering the nutritional, social, educational, and in-home care, which is a key part of this, which contributes to our continued commitment to avoid institutional care. When people remain at their home, they are more likely, and this is data-driven information, they are more likely to physically thrive for longer periods of time than if they were placed in an institutional care. Their mental health also remains stronger when receiving services and support in community rather than in institutions. The community also benefits from having having older adults aging in place because they're also an economic support for communities. Remaining at home allows older adults to continue to be socially connected and bolster their communities through high level of faith-based and civic engagement. Not only are these social community benefits to older adults remaining in their homes longer, but there are also economic impacts for promoting community care as well. While living in the communities they help build, older adults are spending money locally, reinvesting in that community. Supporting a person at home also helps to decrease avoidable hospitalizations, emergency room visits, and unnecessary nursing home stays. Overall, the investment, as the councilwoman and chairwoman aptly said, costs $32,000 to keep someone in the home with community care supports, while institutional care is $154,000 per adult annually. From a public finance perspective, what would you prefer? This reflects, that was off the record, guys. This reflects
Was that a rhetorical
the estimated cost savings of a compilation of services provided through New York City. There is also an impactful benefit to ensuring that more older adults can safely live in their homes through making improvements in apartments or buildings which promote universal design, elements so that people can age in place, live, and thrive. Think about walk-up buildings, and I can get to that later. Things that we could do to make those so people can age in place. The future is looking as we plan for the coming of caregiving and home care needs. where we know that those needs will only grow. Our programs and services offered to older adults should go beyond older adult centers, but also should include a full compendium of needs which older adults experience throughout their lives. A fundamental component of the community care plan includes collaboration between partner agencies. And one of the things that we've done is establish in New York, that this mayor has done, is establish an NYC cabinet for older New Yorkers, because we saw the need for the component parts of government to innovate and address issues affecting older adults, to try to address problems rather than individually, but through cross collaborations, and to communicate beyond those silos that have been developed over the years. We were able to access care and programs that they need. We were able to address gaps, and also things grew out of this cabinet organically. That collaboration addresses key goals of the community care plan by connecting a range of programs and services offered by New York City Aging and other partner agencies to fit the needs of older adults. The community care plan was part of developing cabinet priorities and provided a framework for subcommittees to identify issues most affecting older adults. For example, one priority born out of the community care plan related to public and pedestrian safety. As older adults wish to remain in their communities and continue to age in place, they are more susceptible to injury or death when struck by a vehicle, or harm because of issues like sidewalk and other elements on the street. We partnered with DOT, they had an annual survey, or a biannual survey that they would do on pedestrian safety. But now we've expanded that partnership to develop walking tours and discussion with older adults from NYC Aging OACs to better understand the issues in their community and develop solutions. This is just one example of the cabinet initiatives which were key to the success of the community plan, and it was fundamental to our outreaching efforts, and this was budget neutral efforts. Despite these benefits, we know that there is more work to be done, especially in caregiving sector as of older New Yorkers and Americans in general. We struggle to navigate and afford long-term care solutions for their families and our loved ones. In-home solutions and supports are fundamental to the success of community care plan. We are working to build out programmatic and policy-based solutions to address the coming caregiving crises. As more baby boomers retire and grow older, their families are navigating the challenges of an aging population who want to remain in the home but need additional care and support. I know this experience firsthand. I live it. As I always say, I'm not only the commissioner, but I'm also a client. I have walked with my mother in her aging experience in my role as commissioner, and I've learned all of the challenges in navigating these services. I am the executive head of the largest area agency in the United States. That can only be my experience. And I still had to ask, where do I begin? How do I do this? They're frequently, so imagine the average New Yorker caregiver who would say, how do I begin? They're not even aware, number one, that there are services for them. They're not even aware that they're a caregiver because they just consider themselves a daughter, a godchild, a niece. New York, they need to be informed. This is just going to grow in New York. And they need to address these situations for their loved ones. New York State also needs to do a better job, and needs to do a better job in collaborating and cross-pollinating all those long-term care services that they have, and I'm going to address that later on. Much of our focus in caregiving space is on funding and education. Many people find themselves to be caregivers who don't even know where to begin, as I said. The labyrinth of services and qualifications create daunting barriers to getting the care and support they need for a loved one. At times, we run the risk of being our own worst enemy when we do not make options plainly available to people and do not clearly provide the linkages and supports within a community care plan. And our community care plan's goal is to achieve that. New York State's expanded in-home services for the elderly persons, ISEP program as we commonly know it, is meant to address the gap between individuals and family who are unable to pay out of pocket for some home services, but who are not necessarily low income enough to qualify for Medicaid services. However, this program requires more funding, and too frequently, aging services employees receive different rates of Medicaid clients, which further disadvantages the ISEP-funded home care programs. I ask all of you to partner with us and to ask our partners in the state to create a seamless program and pathway, between the ISEP program, the long-term care managed program, and the nursing home transition program. There is not a reason why each one of those has to be a separate step, a daunting and complicated application process when someone started in the ISEP program. We should try to create those pathways. Additionally, we know that transportation and micromobility solutions are fundamental to remaining in communities longer. Older adults are more likely to age in place when they can get around, when they can travel, and to their typical daily destinations with some relative ease, even if they have mobility impairments. For older adults, this would mean improvements in public transit access and micromobility options, such as tricycles at the City Bike portal thingies. The alternatives to standard bicycles, open and active and non-vehicular option for older adults to move about their communities and participate in normal aspects of daily living. I have an adult trike, and it really makes me want two things. I'm able to use it. I'm also able not to use my car, and so I'm helping the environment, and I'm also getting exercise, but it is also something, I would not ride a bike in New York City. So I think that that's an option that we should have for more older adults. The alternative to standard bicycles, open, active options for older adults, for shopping, banking, attending church, or visiting friends when it's in that real local area. Community care can further be strengthened by building off the cabinet of the older New Yorkers, which I mentioned before, that ensuring that every aspect of aging in place is addressed. I'm going to repeat. State of New York is integral funding structure for this portion of the community care plan. There must be a seamless process of integrating people from one program to the next program to the next program. It should not be a daunting, brand new application as if you were unknown to the system in the past. We are looking to the council's leadership on advocacy for this program. Like what we saw earlier this year in advancing wage increases that matches ISEP-funded program home care workers compared to Medicaid-funded colleagues. One agency could have two types of workers, and they were getting different salaries. We fought that last year. We had to have a big fight against this year. We got it done. That should not occur. Home care workers are home care workers. The funding source should not determine salary parity and a livable wage. It is imperative that New York State contribute at a commensurate level with the number of older New Yorker city residents and ensure that the city is able to meet other important needs such as center improvement, infrastructure needs, program that benefits communities. They also need to be a better partner in terms of addressing environmental and climate change issues. I just added that, Chair. I look forward to working with you this fall on next year's state legislative convening in Albany to discuss the better approaches to benefit New York. Got to remind everybody, New York City aging budget is primarily city tax levy. At one point, a big portion of that was state funding, and over time, that has diminished more and more. So as we keep talking about all the things we need to have a stronger partner in the state We're receiving 27% of the funding in many areas when we have 47% of the population. And before I close, I want to acknowledge the introductions today, included in today's agenda, namely the two surrounding the study on NORCs and older adult workforce programs. We applaud that. As usual, we are aligned with the council's support and intent in this, and we want to have every opportunity to discuss these with you to see how we could support your efforts and make sure that they are not asking for additional information that we don't currently provide, all right? And to make feasible solutions that work for all of us. In conclusion, there are many components to the community care vision that are required for it to be a successful program long-term. What we have been able to accomplish in the first 4 years of this plan would not have been done, and you know I'm going to say this over and over again, without your investment. You invested in our vans. You've invested in infrastructure. You made us start thinking about a capital plan for our kitchens. All of that is part of a community care plan. So I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you for your continued partnership, and we want more.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. I'd like to acknowledge that we've also been joined by council members Mealy and Zwang. And I will just jump into questions if that's okay with you. So how is the implementation of the community care plan carried out?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Start.
Sure. How is the implementation of the community care plan carried out? So how is the work structured? Who organizes related meetings, agenda items, priorities? You could start there.
I'm trying to think of where do I start with that question. We looked at, tell me if I'm answering you, all right, if I'm answering you adequately. We looked at a range of factors in developing the plans, including writing an RFP that will reflect what was required. For example, outreach was built into the RFP. Everyone had a community education outreach plan. Everyone had, in that RFP process, there was a partnership plan that people needed to have local partnerships. OAC attendance and review rates was part of that, you know. Utilization of the pop-up cafes. We started looking at other ways that we could design that would serve people in different ways for those who did not want to go to the OACs. And institutionalizing some of the initiatives that came out of the older adult cabinets. So I think that is my answer to what I believe is your question, and tell me if I've answered it.
Yeah, I think you answered part of it. As far as like meetings, priorities that are identified, is that just done by NYC Aging, or are there other stakeholders that participate in that process?
Well, there's the local meetings that the older adult centers and the NORCs do on their own in their community engagement. Okay. I host, as you are aware of, I host a monthly meeting with all of the directors to talk about where we're going and or things that we need to be mindful of. And then there's the cabinet meetings where the 24 agencies, right. And with your addition, now I think there's like 3 more there. There's more cabinet members, and we're constantly, those committees are held, there's quarterly, but then we have the subcommittees which meet monthly and start talking about progress. So it's something that we're all looking at from this different perspectives, whether it's transportation, whether it's health, whether it's training of workers, whether it's training on ageism in the Board of Education. But we're looking at it against this big plan that everything is about keeping people in their homes.
Okay, and then would you say the implementation of the plan is on track? Yeah, okay. It is. Is it satisfying everything that we want it to satisfy? Probably not. And I know I'm not supposed to say that in the testimony. Okay, we appreciate your honesty. But because more home care is, we need more home care. There are 2 linchpins that I always think about a community care plan, right? And that's my lived experience.
is if you get support in the home for those daily life activities, and then you get transportation, that goes a long way in the community care. We've addressed those as best as we can, and frankly, I think the transportation one we've addressed quite well. But we need our partners at the MTA to do what they need to do at Access-a-Ride, and we need all of our partners to put in their share, so that when you say, was it totally realized? No, there are more things that can be done by some of our other external partners.
Do you think the goals of the plan have changed since it's been announced?
I don't know that it's changed as much as it evolves. So if evolution is part of change, yeah. When we think about our geriatric mental health services, right? We always had those. But as part of the community care plan, rather than having independent geriatric mental health centers, we incorporated that and came up with that hub and spoke so that more older adult centers would have geriatric outlets, so geriatric mental health services. So, so it's been evolved. It's not, have we added new services? No, we've looked at the implementation of those services and how is it that we can have the broadest reach.
Okay, great. Can you describe the different ways in which the plan has been implemented since its inception in 2021, specifically with regards to improving integration and collaboration between older adult centers, naturally occurring retirement communities, and other community resources?
Other than the constant encouragement of that and the partnerships on the ground, I would say that the plan fosters that encouragement, and it continues. Am I understanding the question correctly? Chair, is that an answer that you're seeking at the more partnerships at the local level?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. I think whatever is most relevant.
Yeah, and I think...
So yeah, at the local level, but also systemically.
I think the strength of this plan goes with, it really is about collaboration, locally, but it is also collaboration across agencies, which we're doing with the cabinet, and also some of our partners in government, meaning other funding sources, which is something that we're constantly trying to advocate for.
Okay. What about with regard to enhancing equity and inclusion by addressing historical funding inequities and ensuring services are responsive to the needs of a diverse older adult population, including immigrants and older adults of color? I think you touched on this in your testimony, but I'm looking for something a little bit more specific in terms of the ways in which the plan has been implemented with regard to that specifically.
So when we issued the RFP, we were looking at it with the lens of equity and inclusion. That has been our focus since that RFP was issued. And I would say that, I'm trying to get the number, we not only increased the number of older adult centers, 29 more were added, and we always had that lens of where were they placed. We were looking at it with the lens of ensuring that they were responsive to the ethnic and cultural needs of the community. We also had 8 naturally occurring NORCs added as a result of that RFP. And if I'm not mistaken, 13 of those older adult clubs were focused that were new cultural programs like India House and other programs that were specific to community needs. So the issue of equity and inclusion is something that we looked at. We saw, and you've heard me report, that we were very mindful of the increase in the African American population, Latino and Asian American population. from the last census, and we needed to, and our goal was to respond to that.
What about service providers beyond OACs and NORCs?
Where we have we look to that for case management agencies. When we did that, home delivered meals, that is key to us. I mean, we have we created five commissaries to address that so that we could be able to respond to the ethnic and cultural and religious needs of the population. So it's not only OACs, but you will see that we did the same thing in each one of the RFPs that we've let since then, for case management, home delivered meals, and even transportation.
Okay.
Oh, they gave me something here. Yeah, 13 of the new providers are culturally relevant and new, and 4 of those were MWBEs.
Okay, great, thank you. I think you had your numbers accurately.
I remember the number.
All right, if you can also explain the different ways the plan has been implemented with regard to leveraging technology by utilizing virtual programming and other technologies to engage isolated older adults and enhancing service delivery.
So, I've said this before, you never let a good pandemic go to waste. And so the learnings of that pandemic was virtual programming. And we've expanded virtual programming, and I'm sure you're going to ask me for how much, and I will get you those numbers later on. I will get back to you on that. But we've expanded virtual programming not only for recreational and education, but also for a variety of other areas. And the other thing that we did was we gave out tablets to increase people's access to technology in NYCHA and in non-NYCHA employees. And then we worked with the Office of Technology, our Chief Technology Officer, Matt Frazier, and were part of the NYCHA efforts to make sure that everybody in NYCHA had access to high-speed internet, and we're currently looking at ways of bringing that. Right now, we have a proposal in with them to look at ways to bring that to other non-NYCHA residents and community.
This is something that I talk about all the time, and so just want to get a sense also, specifically with regards to expanding and strengthening community care services through increased investments specifically to keep pace with the growing and diversifying older adult population, with really an emphasis on the growing older adult population. And what does it look like? What does the plan look like specifically with that in mind?
So, Charlie, give me the numbers of the population. One of the things we look at, everything that we look at and how we evolve it is not intuitive, it was all data-driven. And it's data-driven not only on income, but on ethnicity. And one of the things, and also age cohorts. And one of the things that we've done is to look at the future is how many people are, no, I want the age breakdown. That thing, Charlie, okay. So while I give you that, we look at where people are living, and we also, given census data, start looking at where people will be moving to or growing, all right, where the populations shrink and where population's growing. And that is how we determine where services should be and where services should be today, but also in the future. And it is all based on looking at that data. And one of the things we just heard from the 20, which alarmed us a little bit, was that overall New York City's census shrunk as in the 2020, in the last census data from the American study. So we're looking at that and the impact on older adults.
Okay. And then I know you talked about transportation initiatives in your testimony, but can you just expand a little bit on what enhanced transportation options you have to better connect older adults in geographically remote areas?
Yeah, so, can you give me thank you. So, recognizing two things. Recognizing that we need to have more interaction with Access-A-Ride, which is run by the MTA, which is,
I think a lot of people would
what is it that we call it,
dispute
inaccessible
that,
ride?
maybe not so much interaction
Yeah.
with Access-A-Ride. But.
But it is what we have, and my goal is in the time that I can, is to make sure that that starts working for us. And so one of the legislations that we propose, which I would love for all of you to be partners, we propose legislation that they create a liaison, the way they've created a liaison between NYC, NYCHA, and Aging, to create a liaison between Access-A-Ride. Not that we will take responsibility for them, but that we will be mindful as to where the big gaps are and informing them and giving them solutions so that we could really work towards improvement. Because right now, there's just a repository of complaints with no solutions for addressing those complaints, all right? And so that's one thing. It is the biggest system that we have that needs to be responsive. So that's one thing that we're constantly looking at. Can somebody make sure that that's not about my mother? I'm sorry, I got
That's okay.
caregiver. Can you just answer my phone? There, thank you. All right. So that's one thing that we do. The other thing that we did last year, we issued that transportation RFP. All older adult clubs can have the option to do transportation locally, to bring older adults to and from the center, right? And some of them add, some group activities and things like that. They're all, if they wanted the funding, they could.
We can pause for a second. You want to pause for a
Yeah,
second?
I better. This might be about my mother's care. Living proof of what what we all go through.
I know
every
it's
day.
something that you and I have in common.
We have
so
in
I
common,
totally
and it doesn't
get
get
it.
easier. Anyway, and the other thing that we did was the transportation programs. And so each contractor, each older adult club can choose to have that built into their program and budget, their funds for that. But then what we found was, because we knew that we needed to expand transportation, we included per borough a transportation program that could supplement that, especially for group activities, so that no one can say, we can't go shopping outside of our community and we can't go to Mahansic State Park or wherever, those wonderful places. So we built that in. And then we also had a citywide transportation program that would supplement. So that was our effort to try to mitigate a little bit of what we saw as some of the challenges in Access-A-Ride. The other thing is that we're very mindful of the transportation deserts. For example, in the Bronx, out of 12 community districts, we have 4 transportation deserts. And they're not even in a contiguous neighborhood. Like if you live in the Bronx, the northern part of the Bronx, I know, is a transportation desert. And then if you live in the South Bronx, there's certain parts that are also transportation desert. You wouldn't even believe that. In Brooklyn, out of 18, we have 5 transportation deserts, all right? And a lot of these are in communities that we know well and care for very well. And then in Queens, out of 14 planning boards, there are 6 transportation deserts. So we're kind of like mindful
Yeah.
of that when we're looking at transportation and coming up with transportation alternatives, micromobility, all of those other solutions that could mitigate, these transportation deserts.
Are those transportation services provided by OACs and NORCs, or are they provided by third parties, or?
OACs and not NORCs. OACs have, NORCs, not right? No NORCs, thank you. OACs have the option to have local transportation in their budget and contract, right? Not all of them opted for that, but that is available and an option that they have. In addition to that, that's where we came up with the transportation design last year, where we had one for borough to supplement what OACs did not offer, and then we had one citywide that can take you across boroughs, which, people live in Brooklyn, go to the doctor in Manhattan, same thing happens in the Bronx.
Right, okay. Thank you.
But I want you to be mindful of transportation deserts, because if we're looking at an age-inclusive city, and what we consider a transportation desert by normal standards, we're not creating something new. Imagine the complexity of that for an older adult if the bus stop is 4 blocks away.
Totally.
And so
Yeah,
it's
we're
very
working with
meaningful for us.
the MTA around a lot of their bus redesign, of the various lines, making sure that we're addressing exactly those needs in some of those communities.
Yeah.
To make sure that they're not removing bus stops that already exist and that they're expanding the number of bus stops on particular lines. Can you describe the ways in which NYC Aging works and collaborates with other city agencies and stakeholders to ensure comprehensive implementation of the plan? And how does the plan interplay with the Senior Advisory Council and the Cabinet for Older New Yorkers? I know you addressed this a little bit.
Yeah, it's an integral part of the work that we do with the cabinet members. One of the things that we knew is healthcare professionals are one of the group of people that older adults interact with the most. And so what we've done is we've designed a training program in all of our H&H programs to ensure that frontline workers meaning those that give access to the client, not frontline like first responders. But frontline workers are aware of what the aging services are, and so we've trained a lot of them. Almost the entire force has been trained in aging services. And then, this is not a one-shot training. It's not one and done. We have to go back and as people change, we know that this is an ongoing thing. Another one is the work that we're doing with the Board of Education, that's now called Department of Education, no longer Board of Education, Department of Education, where we are training young people on ageism, which we know is one of the keys to holding all of this in place if we want to be an age-inclusive city. And the partnership that we have from DOT that has grown tremendously in terms of doing these community audits, looking at micromobility. So everything emerges from that. And the work we did with the police department, NYPD, which was to look at creating a liaison, a person in each precinct that becomes the community officer who focuses on older adults. And we've done an incredible amount of training of those individuals so that they are aware of the services, but they're also the link in the community for that. So all of it is emerging around that.
Okay, great, thank you. And I'm just going to ask a few more questions, and I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues for their questions as well. But what challenges has the city faced in implementing the plan, and in what ways does NYC Aging believe that the plan can be improved?
I wanted the challenges is the growing number of older adults, right? And do you have the population? Thank you. When we look at the population, we've got to be responsive because they each have different needs, right? So when I look at the 60, no, I want the one by the categories. Yeah. Okay. So when we look at 60 to 64, we realize that is the lowest number of people who are attending older adult clubs. So what does that do? Makes us think, well, where are they going? right? And so right now, we're doing a partnership with the New York City Libraries, we're doing a partnership with Parks Department, because we know that they go to those facilities. So how is it, and that comes out of the cabinet. So we're looking at, okay, how best to serve them, because we know that they're going somewhere, right? And so how we best can serve them. And then we know that the if you want to call it the sweet spot, but the largest number is from the 65 to 80 category of older adults. Those are the ones that frequent the older adult clubs. Those are the ones that, and then 85 plus are getting our home delivered meals. So we're looking at all of our services by age category also to see, what do I need for this group? What do I need more for that group? And that is an integral part of how we're also making decisions. So we look at geographic, we look at age cohort, we look at income, and we definitely look at ethnicity, because that is ever changing. And so those are the things that sort of drive this plan, and keeping pace with that. Okay?
And so how can the plan be improved?
The plan could be improved, and I won't say improved, I'm going to say evolved. The plan can be more responsive, because I don't think you can improve a plan that's already pretty comprehensive. You need to evolve it. And for us to look at exactly what I just said before, what do we do to engage that 60 to 64-year-old? What do we do to make sure that we enhance services for that 85 plus who still wants to stay at home? I got a 95-year-old just like that. And what do we do for that sweet spot, which is the bulk of the older adult population, which is 65 to about 80.
Can you explain a little bit more about the interagency partnerships with parks and libraries? What
Yeah,
does that work
sure.
look like?
So that is the beauty. I wish the state would do this, and I'm so happy that Senator Gillibrand has now said for every state to have a state master plan. New York State master plan leaves, I'm not sure where it's going yet, but we have a model in New York, like the Aging Cabinet, that has really served us well. So one of the things that came out, Andrew, for your information, is we looked at Parks Department started thinking of, I always get everybody's name wrong. Parks Department was looking at the older adults that they serve in their recreation facilities, right? And one of the things that they found was, like, a lot of these people are having mental health issues, low-level mental health issues and higher mental health issues. And so one of the things that we've done is say, all right, let's not look at this as a bifurcated program. Let's see how we could integrate. So we first started by sending them a worker, a community mental health worker, a geriatric mental health worker once in a while. Well, now we've done it as a systemic program. And now we're linking them as if they were an older adult club, the way we have hub and spokes, that's one. And the same thing with the libraries, is looking at the partnership with the libraries. We met with Dennis to start thinking about, okay, you do a lot with older adults. What is it that you need? Where are the gaps? And how do we work this together?
Great, thank you for that. You mentioned the state master plan. Well, this plan is a 5-year roadmap, and we're more than halfway through its time frame. What's the future of the plan? And given the great and growing needs of the city's older adult population, does NYC Aging plan on introducing a longer-term plan to the community care plan?
So the answer is yes and yes, all right? Yes, as I said,
Well, the first question was, what's the future of the plan, which is
the future of the plan is to continue this. You can't go back from looking at things comprehensively to go back to look at things in silos. It just makes no sense, particularly when the population is growing. So the future of the plan is to obviously continue this approach, particularly because it's aligned with an age-inclusive city. So that's the trajectory. Now, what I would say is staging out what needs to be done. What are some alternatives for the 60 to 64? Pop-up cafes, are those the alternative? Is Parks Department the alternative? Start looking at it from what we're learning so far, and then going forward. And we know that for the 85 plus, the only way we're going to really serve those individuals well, if they want to continue in community, is to have a shift and a change in the way state, because the state does those Medicaid and long-term care services, is to have a shift in the way that they look at this population and look at an integrated approach to it.
Great. I'm going to break here and turn to my colleagues for some of their questions, starting with Councilmember Banks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good to see you again, and thank you, Madam Chair. When it comes to capital needs, I know recently at Penn Workman Houses, we just had a move for that particular old adult center was just moved into a new NYCHA facility, or that was already on the Penn Workman property, and you know that's a RADPAC converted development. No, capital needs are important, and obviously with the new move, and we welcome that because it's been a long time coming and needed, where the seniors need to be separated from the youth community or the youth community center. So we're glad to see that. But now we know there's a major need for capital improvement in that particular center. With the grand opening we had a couple of months ago, or a month or so ago. The community care plan is predicated on the OACs as a hub for older New Yorkers to access programs and services needed to live healthy and engaging lives. The physical infrastructure of many older adult centers is falling apart. With some being rendered inoperable by physical damage. How does any future system succeed without a thorough assessment of the capital needs in the existing OAC system?
Fabulous question, thank you. I wish I had an easy answer. One of the things that we always did regularly was look at them as one-offs. And started, like, you needed this, and your program officer was aggressive, and then we would help you with that.
Right.
What came out of this committee about a year ago was the need to look at this proactively, and we started with the kitchens, right? And so that plan is something that we're looking at. The challenge that we had at New York City Aging is that if we get capital dollars, we don't manage those dollars directly. Those dollars are managed through EDC or Design and Construction Authority. Then our projects become second, and we have some projects still on the books. I think I've told you about that, right. About some elevators and stuff that have been on the books for years, and it's not in their queue. What we have done, and we have the first example, is through your borough president. Okay. All right? No, not your. Yes, your borough president.
Yes.
Antonio?
Antonio?
Right?
Antonio, yeah.
Antonio.
What else?
Yeah, Reynoso, right. So Antonio, borough president Reynoso, gave us a capital grant just for older adult clubs. And he gave it to us directly, and what we're going to do is hire and Jose's eyes are going to burn behind my head, but we're hiring an MWBE. We're hiring a contractor to oversee those services so that we can do that implementation ourselves. And this is a model. And I've asked, and I've already approached 3 of the other borough presidents about this, and not all the other takers. So Antonio needs to do some magic with his colleagues. But that is an approach to start looking at that. Because your borough president's commitment is that should we have climate change a disaster, all of our OACs in Brooklyn will be state-of-the-art. All of our kitchens will be state-of-the-art. So we know that this is the first infusion and model in that. That is how we're going to go forward. Some of our facilities, and most of them in NYCHA, are less than desirable.
That was going to be my segue question.
So if we could look at that and come up with something comparable for NYCHA,
okay,
we would be able to go further. Right now, we have a good partnership with NYCHA in having them queue up some of those issues for us. Our relationship with NYCHA is this, CM Banks. We take care of inside the wall, and you take, I mean, we take from the wall out, and you're responsible for inside the wall.
Because I know that's a constant back and forth, who's responsible for what, because we experienced that with a couple of centers, especially when it came to the ovens,
ovens
or
would
the
be-
stoves,
Ovens and stoves would be,
nitrogen,
no, ovens and stove would be aging.
aging, okay.
The lines for oven and
The
stove.
gas line, right,
And
that
the
was the
gas
issue,
line and
correct.
the ansels are NYCHA.
Correct.
So you get the stove, and unless that gets done and upgraded, you know.
Correct, and that was an impasse. I knew a brand new stove or oven that was there for at least 2-3 years, and it was But in particular, how does it affect the RAD PAC developments when it comes to NYCHA? Because we know that it's new management coming in. They operate definitely differently to some degree, but nevertheless, when it comes to repairs, and I know particularly with Penn Workman, which is a RAD PAC conversion, how are we still meeting the needs or the capital needs in that particular
So
situation?
as a result, I think of a question you asked me of maybe 9 months ago or something. What we've developed was an MOU that we gave to each agency, and the MOU models the operations and the understanding we have with NYCHA, so that they will do that with each one of the RADs, so that they have the same agreements. And each one of those, as you know, is a one-by-one relationship. But what we told NYCHA is, this is the MOU that we don't engage in that. It's each center. But we gave a draft MOU. Somebody correct me if I'm saying it incorrectly, right? We drafted an MOU for each one of the RADs and the nonprofit agency.
Okay. Moving on, talking about the topic of virtual programming, in the community care plan, NYC Aging recommended enhanced and expanded virtual programming to reach those unable to get to older adult centers. And out of their NORC apartments for on-site programming, as well as large number of other New Yorkers currently isolated and unconnected. Expanded virtual programming was a critical tool to the homebound older adults to remain connected during COVID-19. Since the plan was published, what kinds of virtual programming and service has the Department for the Aging championed, and what kind of programming was funded? Or what type of programs are funded?
There is no program we exclude from virtual programming. So the balance is, because we know that even a virtual program gives you some sort of social connection, because what we're all fighting against is social isolation, right? And what we want is as much, not for home-delivered meals clients, but for other clients, come into the center occasionally. But we know that people can choose virtual programming because it gives you more options, and it gives it for your schedule. So there is no program that we do not allow to be in a virtual program. And the other thing is that, is one of the things that I constantly talk to our team about is, meals are an essential piece, but a lot of people come in and do not use the meal in an older adult club or even in a NORC. And what they want is that other programming, socialization. So that what we want is to make sure that there's not an overemphasis on the meal part, but also on the programming part. And so the note here is hybrid programming gives us more flexibility, but also gives the older adult more flexibility.
Okay. Is there a range of available virtual programming and services as expansive today as it was during the peak of the pandemic?
Say it again, I didn't hear you.
I said, is the range of available virtual programming and services as expansive today as it was during the peak of COVID?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Intuitively, I'm going to say yes, but I'm not going to give you an intuitive answer. I'll give you a number to see that.
The plan discusses virtual programming as a key strategy in the future of service Many providers have shared with us that they are being discouraged from providing virtual programming or have been instructed to stop providing these services. What has been the rationale for this reversal of this policy?
So I don't know that that's an accurate statement, right? That we've prevented it. What we've said is that it cannot supplant programming
Said
in person.
discouraged, not
Right?
prevent.
So
but-
we can't, you can't, all your program can't be virtual, that's basically what we're discouraging. You have to have a hybrid. You have to have program available in-house, in person, as well as virtual programming.
Has the access to virtual programming expanded the number of older adults that the Department for the Aging and contracted providers are regularly interacting with?
I'll get you that. Again, my reaction would be yes, but I'll get you some real data on that.
Data on that, okay, perfect. The 2024 MERS Management Report shows that 35,000 older adult center clients participated in a virtual and hybrid programs in 2024. In FY 2022, the number stood at 61,351 participants. Do you track whether individuals who attend these virtual or hybrid programming have shifted in person to in-person participation at the older adult centers?
That's what I'll get you that data. Because each one of those is unduplicated numbers, so go ahead.
Well, Madam Chair, thank you so much, and appreciate the time. Thank you.
Absolutely,
I
thank
want
you.
to make sure what I promised you, all right? So that they can make sure what I promised you, so we can get you the information. All
Look
right,
forward to the data.
So it's two things that you want. The number of people participating in hybrid,
Correct.
the number of people, if there has been an increase in that, right?
Right.
And then the other thing that you wanted, has there been a diminishing piece of in-home?
Correct.
Related to that?
Correct.
Okay. And then you wanted me to, I'll give you the correct language or the language on what we prohibit and the intent or the way we say that, all right?
Correct. Thank you. We look forward to that
So
information.
that facts are friendly rather than interpretations.
Thank you.
Just to clarify on the second to last question, it's about tracking individuals who attend virtual and hybrid programming and whether they've shifted to in-person only.
Yeah, got it, thanks.
Thank you. I'm going to move to Councilmember Schulman, followed by Councilmember Zhuang.
Thank you very much, Chair. And thank you for everything that you do, Commissioner. Really appreciate it. So I have a couple of questions. One is, you know that the mayor launched a year ago Healthy NYC to increase life expectancy to the age of 83 by the year 2030. So how does the care plan fit into that we were talking about?
One of our strong partnerships is with the Department of Health around that. And we have two initiatives. One is we're doing a health fair. We did Groove. We work very much with the Department of Health on coming up with citywide initiatives that promote health and longevity. We're having a health fair in a few days, again, around that. It's the messaging that we do together, and, Say that? No, Thursday the 26th is our health fair, but some of the other initiatives that we do directly with the Department of Health centered around longevity issues as well as healthy living, all right?
Okay, and another question I have, so the mayor launched his one portal, like for all services and everything else. I know it's for everybody, but is there a specific section maybe for older adults? Because I know, like for screen
So the
injury,
first-
and
right.
also I will say, as somebody who just got my reduced fare card from the MTA, that that's, you know, we should be able to like go up and do that.
So the goal of the city is one city, so that we could do what the mayor calls it, upstream approaches rather than downstream approaches. NYC Aging and services for older adults are part of that. And we are starting with the Scree and the Dree is one of the first ones that we're starting up. And we're looking at other services like down the road that we will do. So it is very, very clear that older adults are part of that plan. It is not like a separate plan for older adults. It's really looking at it comprehensively. If we do a separate plan for older adults, we're creating silos.
Right, no,
So what we
I
want
get
is
it.
what is the full range, from housing to right to counsel and all of those, making sure that people know. And the other piece that we're looking at is auto enrollment as much as possible.
I mean, you know, I understand about the silos and everything else, but I just want to make sure it's navigable for older adults who may not necessarily know how to navigate the internet or, you know, on the computer, all of that stuff. So I just wanted
No,
to mention
the
that.
commitment is to make it accessible for all.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's it? Great. Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Zhuang?
Thank you, Chair. And
This council member's going to ask me about housing.
yes. Yeah, that's right. And also, the first question, not about housing, about funding. In my district, we have NORCS program. People are there very happy. The only thing the senior keep asking me about funding. They worry their funding be cut and they don't have enough money and they're not able to survive there. And also, there's another sad story I hear from my community saying a lot of people complain adult daycare center has more funding than NORC program.
Oh, that's the state.
Yes. How they going to compete with each other and they feel that like they're competing? How do we make sure the NORCS program stays?
All right.
The
so I'm-
OACs.
Right. So I go from the notion that they're not competitive. Adult daycare centers, if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, are really taking care of a very infirmed population, all right, that's still living in the community. That is not the natural population that go to OACs. That being said, adult daycare centers, which are regulated by the state, sometimes do not abide maybe by those rules. I can't attest to that. What I can attest is that this city council years ago created an ombudsman program under the Department for the Aging so that we could, one, make sure that they're all enrolled, all adult daycare centers are enrolled, and then we could monitor the complaints and report those to the state at a higher level. But I do not think that they're competitive by nature because they're supposed to be serving different populations. Are they not doing what they're supposed to be doing? That's possible. The funding is very different. The funding of one does not take away from the funding of another. NORCS are funded under the Department for the Aging, the New York City Aging. Senior adult daycare centers are funded under the state. There have been no cuts to the NORCS, and there have been no budget cuts to any of the programs.
Thank you. And also, I asked before about the Meal on Wheel program. Do you able to find anything in my district? Especially I have large Asian population in my district. They keep asking me, or a lot of seniors ask me, do we able to do Meal on Wheel, Chinese food, Korean food, this type of thing?
We do have a service provider that provides Meals on Wheels for the Asian population. So I'll get back to you and see what they're doing in your community. The other
I
thing,
have Southern Brooklyn. Probably they have in Queens, but I did not see any in Southern Brooklyn. Do you able to
no.
get me?
it's citywide. Each one of the home delivered meals programs, because of an agreement we have with the council, is to make sure that they serve the population in the choice of religious and cultural food that they want. So those provisions are tended to.
Okay,
All right, it's 20%.
I like to have the information.
Yeah, we'll get
afterwards.
it for you. We'll get it for you. But I wanted to address housing for you, right?
Okay.
You didn't raise it, I'm going to raise it. I went to a program that has a model housing program that I am just, I've spoken to people in the Bronx about it, I think I've spoken to people in Brooklyn about it. It is a housing concept developed by India House, a halal program, and where they purchased a home and have 4 adults, it could be couples too, co-living, and they call it co-living. It's very different from shared housing, but it's co-living, where they each have their bedroom, they each have a bathroom, and they each have a common eating area and then 2 recreational areas. When I start thinking about, like housing needs, and I look at all the alternatives, I keep telling everyone, think about this. Think about all the older adults that are house rich and asset rich and can't afford them. Like if we start looking at the laws that we have, how do we do that so that the person doesn't lose their capital and investment in the home, but at the same time can convert it? What would be some of the benefits? It is something for us to seriously look at. And India House has, they've had this model. I want everyone to go visit them because it is feasible and a faster solution, maybe a faster solution to housing. Very different from home sharing. I don't want to confuse it with home sharing, where the one person is the homeowner and the other person is the tenant. And then the complexities and the cost of making those matches.
Is that similar, like, I feel imagine that it's similar to college dorms?
Yeah, you could look at it that way.
Okay.
Right. Frankly, I think as an older adult, I would think that's a viable option, But yeah, think about it as college dorms.
And also, right now I'm proposing a place in my district building senior housing, but the SARA program takes so long, 5 years. Is there any way?
Sometimes it takes 8 years for someone to be on the list before they get an apartment.
Yeah. Is any way we can do something to push that?
The market determines. When you have a 1% vacancy rate.
Supply and demand.
It's a supply and demand, it's pure good old economics. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality that we live in.
Yeah, we do need the city to build more affordable, housing for older adults, but
right.
Short of anyway, that's
and
perhaps another hearing
I think
topic.
the direction with the city of yes, I think some of the directions that we're going with as a city, thinking about ADUs, alternative units.
Right.
Co-living, all of those are shorter-term solutions for this massive issue that we have.
Absolutely. Any other questions, council member?
That's it.
Okay.
She already read my mind.
Yeah, she knew what you were coming with. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask some finance questions.
Is this, we're going to hold those for the budget, for the finance committee, or see what I could answer? Because I might not have the answers for you here.
Well, I'm sure if you don't have the answers with you now, you can send them to me.
Okay, cool. Great.
In the adopted plan, NYC Aging's fiscal 2025 budget totals $550.2 million, decreasing by $124.3 million to $425.9 million in fiscal 2026. A larger contributor to this decrease is the expiring federal pandemic-related funding, which totals $68.2 million in fiscal 2025 only. How is NYC Aging planning on addressing the significant decrease in funding for the agency starting in fiscal 2026, and will additional funding be added?
So, it's early to have a budget conversation, but I can tell you that the fiscal cliff that you're mentioning is on the public record. And we've already engaged with OMB in these conversations because it has an impact on OACs, and it has impact on the North RFP and all of those issues.
And that's why, just to be clear, that's why I'm asking the question when
Yeah.
we're talking about all of this, plus the community care plan.
So I have a high degree of confidence, given my conversations with OMB, that we're engaged in very strong conversations, and they're very much aware of the impact if that fiscal cliff becomes a reality. And so these are very good, productive conversations, and I have a high degree of confidence that we'll be able to come up with a very good solution.
Okay. If funding is not added, what programs or areas of the agency will be impacted by this fiscal cliff? And which programs and services might need to be cut?
That's one of the things that we're talking with OMB right now, giving them, worst case scenario, giving them different impacts by program, by community, and by program area. Those are the conversations that we're having right now with them.
Okay, and which programs are utilizing the federal pandemic-related funding?
Say that again?
Which programs are utilizing the federal pandemic-related funding?
When you said that earlier in your opening statement, our federal dollars, and Jose will, I can get back to you on that, but most of our, whatever you would call them, pandemic, I don't understand what this is. So, those federal dollars were used to support OACs and NORCs, but a lot of that was baseline with capital dollars. With city funding.
Okay, a lot of it?
Yeah, I'll have to get you those numbers. I'm not prepared to address any of those very specifics right now.
Okay. Do you know how much of the funding has been replaced with city funds to date?
You want to, you know what I have for you? It's interesting. Okay, we'll get back to you on that. But what I had for you was the budget dollars for the community care plan. Those were the only dollars that I have available with me today.
Okay, you mentioned that some of the programs have been replaced with city dollars, but I think only partially.
I'm going to get back to you on the correct answer for that.
Okay, and then specifically related to the community care plan, how would budget cuts meet the stated goals of the plan?
It's one of the conversations we're having with OMB and looking at the impact. We'll get back to you on that, too.
So you're trying to minimize the impact?
Yeah.
In your conversations with OMB, do you know if they have plans to increase your budget that would align with the increase in older New Yorkers and the needs that we can clearly anticipate? Can you take your conversations with OMB to the bank? See what I did there?
I can tell you that they are fully transparent and open conversations with OMB. And they are aware of the impact of the growing population. They're very much aware of the diversity in that population. And they're also very much aware of the growing caregiving needs. So taking it to the bank, I can tell you I have full confidence in the degree and depth of those conversations, and that we are being heard, and that it is transparent and responsible conversations.
Okay, so we've heard that there might be up to 60 older adult centers that would close. Is that part of the plan? Or part of the conversations you're having with OMB?
That's never going to be part of the plan. But that's part of the conversations that we have with OMB. What would the impact? Would it be 60? I can't give you a number. Because those conversations are fluid.
I know you can't necessarily answer this question. You don't speak on behalf of OMB, but it really is honestly and truly baffling to me that OMB in every budget hearing that, you know, I've been in with them, I ask them and tell them the same exact thing I do everywhere. You know, I am like a broken record. We know the population increases among older adults, and NYC aging continues to be cut. Do you think they like really understand the implications of continuing to cut your budget given the increasing population?
I can tell you, what I can tell you with certainty is that the conversations we've had with them, which are responsible conversations, which are transparent conversations, they're aware of the impact of the public plan if it gets materialized.
Okay.
And have been responsible in their response to us. Okay?
In your response to you,
Right. Right.
not necessarily in their response to me. But I know the responses are different. I get that. I'm just trying to find a question that I think you'll be able to answer. Okay, maybe about the budgets for for OACs, excuse me. In the adopted plan from OMB documents, we see $235.7 million is included for OACs in fiscal 2025 under budget codes 5300 and CR02. This funding drops considerably to $177.7 million in fiscal 2026, and then $164.2 million in fiscals 27 and 28. Can you confirm if this is the full current budget for OACs, and if not, what other units of appropriation and budget codes include OAC funding, and is it isolated or does it also include other programs?
So the fiscal cliff is part of the public record. And what I described earlier is the conversations that we have around how to best address that fiscal cliff for for NYC aging.
Okay. Bear with me one second here. Okay, I'm going to move to data.
You're going to go
To data.
data. All right.
What trends are NYC aging tracking to ensure that the plan is impactful?
In addition to our MMR report, which looks at meals and clients served, the other thing that we're tracking is number of home care hours. One of the things that we have found is that even the home care hours stay steady, the number of clients has gone down because more home care hours.
Sorry, you said home care hours are steady, but clients have gone down? Okay.
Right, because more clients are using home care, case management, I'm sorry. More clients are using case management than, and the needs are, and the situations are more complex. So the number of clients is going down. The other thing that we're tracking is home care hours to make sure, and to look at the range of home care services that we provide. We're looking at transportation deserts. Those are the things that we're tracking to make sure that the program is meeting the fuller range of needs that we have. And then, of course, we are always in the caregiving conversation.
And then how many OACs currently exist compared to the number when the plan was announced?
We have 29 more older adult centers than we did prior to that. And we have 8 more NORCs than we did prior to that. 8 NORCs and to 36, and 29 to about 314 older adult clubs. That's not contracts, that's clubs. Remember, some contracts will have multiple clubs under them.
It's not contracts, it's clubs. But were some of those, were all of those like actually new?
Of the 20,
Or-
yes,
29 and the 8?
Yeah. That's where the additional dollars went to.
Copy. With regard to creating an age-inclusive and age-friendly New York City, can you estimate the number of older adults who have avoided or delayed institutional care since the implementation of the plan?
So I'm going to give you a statistic that I think is trend,
Okay.
because I don't think there's an actual number, right?
Okay. Or also like a percentage of older adults.
Right. So there's 41,000 people in nursing homes. And we serve over 220 people with our older adult services at NYC. So
220,000.
220,000, right? Which is why the work of the cabinet is so important, because then we start seeing how many more older adults are served outside of NYC Aging, which is a much larger number when you start thinking about SCREE and DREE and all of those other services, SNAP, and all of those other services. So when you look at that, I would say that the community care plan is preventing institutionalization, because that number has not been growing, but the number of older adults in the community has been.
Okay, so maybe a correlation, but not necessarily causation.
No, and it would be as if we would have to keep the state data steady and then do a comparison. We have not done that.
Okay. Do you plan to do it, or you
Could
don't?
look at it. I could seriously have the research team look at it.
I think that would
see
be
it.
helpful.
Yeah, and to see what it would require to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are the elements that we would have to look at so that it's not a trend number, but an actual data number?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for you to have, too, just to show
Yeah.
the impact of the work.
Just think that if we keep institutionalization down, we know that there's a direct correlation with that.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know?
I want you to have those numbers for everybody else. I don't need them.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't need to be sold
Yeah, no,
on
we
it.
need, no, you don't need them, but we need them for the state, so we can tell the state, turn some of those long-term care dollars into community care and not all for a medical model. We all
Totally.
need them.
Do you know what, if any, improvements in quality of life, health, and safety metrics have been observed among older New Yorkers?
One of the things that we look at in terms of, the trends that we do look at is elder abuse trends, and we see a decrease on that. The other trend that we've been looking at is the number of fatalities, pedestrian fatalities for older adults, looking at that. So those are the ones that we've been looking at.
Numbers gone down?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other thing that we will be looking at with our latest needs assessment is some of the quality of life issues.
Okay. And how many new age-friendly initiatives have been introduced?
You mean age inclusive? I'll get back to you, but I'll get back to you on a cabinet report.
Okay.
And to tell you which ones have gone to the second iteration.
Yeah.
Right? So they started here and now they're in the second iteration.
Okay, that would be
All
great.
right?
With regard to promoting universal access to community services, what percentage of older New Yorkers now have greater access to services and programming compared to before the plan's implementation? Or what are you sort of aiming for?
So universal access is, in our definition, is pretty broad in the sense that regardless of income, older adult services are available to you, right? Regardless of ethnicity and regardless of status. So all of those services are available to you, with the exception of home-delivered meals, that is a very prescribed program, all right? So when we talk about universal access, all older adults, with the exception of home-delivered meals, have access to all services provided by NYC Aging.
How many new service providers have been added to the NYC Aging Network? And if you can provide examples, that would be great.
I believe we started out with 10.
You
I'll-
started with 10, or you've added 10?
You're talking about the age integration programs? The intergenerational programs? Is that what you're talking about, the youth programs?
How many new, to the overall network, the overall NYC Aging Network? service providers.
Is this the same 29?
Just in terms of your overall footprint in adding more diverse providers and, you know, providers that meet specific needs, how many new
It's the
service
same
providers?
29. 29 added since the
Okay.
plan's inception, and the 8 NORCs. It's the same number.
Okay, that addresses those issues. Okay. How does the utilization rate of NYC Aging's network of service providers today compare to that of before the plan's implementation?
It's interesting.
Utilization rate. So, since the plan has been implemented, how has the utilization rate of your service providers
So,
changed?
when we look at utilization, in the OACs, we've seen that we've served 13,000 more individuals. All right? Yeah.
Sorry, since the plan's
That's for
implementation?
OACs. Huh?
Since the plan's implementation?
Yeah,
At OACs,
yeah.
okay.
And then we've also seen approximately 3,000 older adults now receive more services in the NORCs that were added. These were the additive numbers, not the overall. For the 29, we saw 13,000 more individuals. Don't forget, these are unduplicated numbers. And then we saw another 3,000 additional older adults in the NORCs.
Okay. With regard to expanding and strengthening community care services, how does the current budget for community care services compare to what it was prior to the plan's implementation? Sorry, a lot of these questions are going to be repetitive, but different topic areas.
You have the modified budget for '24 went from, the overall agency budget went from 375 million to 521 million, all right, during that time when we've been implementing the plan. To 2024.
Okay, thank you. With regard to enhancing equity and inclusion, what is the demographic breakdown of older adults receiving services, and how has it changed since the plan's implementation?
Yes, so I have the ethnic breakdown for you. Just let me find it. Charlie, where is it? I know we have the percentage. Let me, just bear with me for a minute, I'm looking for, because I
No
just...
problem, take your time.
Thank you. And this is all self-reported data. 45% are white, and also includes Latinos who consider themselves white. 19% are Asian, 17% are African American Black, 23% Hispanic Latino, 46% of our clients are under the age of 75, and 53% are over the age of 75.
Thank you. And how many new service providers with diverse backgrounds have been added to the NYC Aging Network?
Of the 29, 13.
Oh, great. And what specific programs have been...
That's not to include all the ones that existed before, right?
That does or doesn't include all the ones that existed before?
Does not include.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's,
it's just-
of the
it's the
29 new
additive.
ones, 13 of
Right.
those, got it.
Right.
What specific programs have been introduced to address the needs of immigrant and older adults of color?
I think those 13 programs are a big piece of that. I mean, I go back to India House. It's the first halal program we had. It's the first time that halal is now a mandated service, as kosher always was, as, you know, and as Spanish and Asian, so like we've introduced that. So I think that that is the kind of movement and trend that we will be seeing more of.
Thank you. And with regard to increasing outreach and marketing, how many outreach and marketing campaigns have been conducted, and what is their reach?
I can tell you about the Join Us campaign, which is the last one, and I can get you that data for that. But there are lots of local education and outreach programs that are done by each one of the OACs and NORCs.
Okay, so you'll follow up with us on that? Okay. As well as the metrics that you've used to determine whether outreach is successful.
We can tell you that for the citywide campaigns.
Yeah.
I don't know that
You'll
we
have it
asked the
necessarily.
OACs to collect metrics that way. We could probably tell you the number of activities that they've done,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
the kind
even,
of activities.
it would be helpful even to know the metrics that they use to determine whether or not the campaign has been successful.
That's a good question. We will pose that question.
And in what languages and media has such outreach been conducted? So specifically with the Join Us campaign,
Yeah.
that was done, I believe, in
That was done
multiple languages?
almost 2 years now.
Yeah, but was that done in multiple languages? Was it done in multiple languages?
The Join Us campaign, yeah.
Yeah,
some of
it was,
them
right?
stuff.
Yeah.
I love that the MTA doesn't change their ads often, and some of them are still
It's
running.
still running, yeah. I saw one the other day, actually.
Yeah, we like it. We still even sometimes see one of the Ability is Ageless campaign. I was like, that one thing I love about the MTA.
Yeah, right. Well, don't tell them, because we don't want them to
Yeah, no, we don't want them to look for the ads
on
and
top
take them
of it.
down.
Yeah. Have you noticed an uptick in older adult engagement since that campaign?
It's really, I don't know that there's been an uptick. I think it's been steady. But there has been changes seasonally. We've had a brutal summer, and so we know that it really is a seasonal variation. But overall, has there been an uptake? I think it's been pretty flat.
Okay, great. Before I jump to legislation, I did want to just ask one question about your website. Does NYC Aging's Activities Finder website include results for virtual programming? And is there an ability to filter search results for virtual activities on the website?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I think we have one of the websites that is the most user-friendly for unsighted individuals, is what I've been told.
Okay, can you tell us exactly how to search for it, how to find, because when we looked, it wasn't up there.
All right.
You'll follow up with that? Okay. Okay, going into the legislation. For
Your
intro-
legislation, with the things you're proposing, or legislation that I'm asking for?
The ones that I'm proposing.
You're proposing,
Me and my colleagues.
Yes.
So for intro number 1022, Councilmember Gutierrez and myself, requiring a study on naturally occurring retirement communities and the development of a plan to support aging in place. Are you supportive of the legislation that requires to study and identify, that would require a study to identify potential NORCs and NNORCs in New York City, assess the needs of older adults, evaluate necessary improvements, and collect data on demographic trends and health outcomes of older adults?
So, there is no objection to...
Okay.
No. Let me just finish the statement.
I know.
There's no objection to any of the legislation proposed, because it's things that we would be wanting to look at. What we need to do, as I've had the conversation with you about the home-delivered meals one and
Right.
all of those, we need to look at some of the language and see, one, is it duplicative? We also need to look at some of the language to see, are we the best entity to be looking at that data? And also, ultimately, what do we want to find out from that data, particularly around the workforce? you and I are aligned and that we need to get more workforce initiatives. But what does that look like? Who does it serve? Those are the kind of things that we would love to work with you on some of the language. And as I said before, there has to be corresponding support for that because we are a small agency with small resources.
Understood. Okay, so specifically related to the workforce programs legislation, what information does NYC Aging currently provide to older adults regarding older adult workforce programs and any employment discrimination issues and resources?
Great question. So we have our 40-plus year program called SYEP, right? We've done some changes in that program to make sure that more people can benefit from that program, meaning the length of time that someone serves as an intern and working more with the partners of that program to unsubsidize the individuals so that we can bring in more individuals into the program. So that's one of the things that we've done. The other thing is we have the Silver Stars program, which is now includes Silver Core. It is any older adult who is interested in volunteering and then on a pathway to work. We work with you, make sure that we get you a volunteer opportunity, so then put you in a path to employment. The other program that we have is the actual Silver Star that started out for city retirees who want to come back to the workforce. The caveat with our workforce program, because I'm a firm believer that older adults should work, those who want to work, right, is not to set up expectations that there's more opportunities for them out there than what they really are. So we're constantly in this battle of what do we market, how do we present it, how do we sell it, so that you come in, you have an expectation, and we don't want to have you without work for such a long period of time until we find the employer for you. But what we do is give you all of the skills that you need so that then we could, the resume writing, some of the soft technology skills, that we will constantly work with you. But it's the placement where, I keep telling staff, I don't want to advertise this broadly because I don't want to have unmet needs.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those tricky things. You want to combat ageism, and you want more employers to be your partner in this, and that's a slower uptake than the desire to work.
Well,
So
that was going to be my follow-up question, just with regards specifically to the employers. Is that the I guess the primary challenge?
that's the primary challenge, is to
And
get.
is it ageism, or is it like lack of capacity or whatever, or like they literally just don't want to hire older adults to work?
So I can give you that answer two different ways. In the nonprofit sector, we've built in a workforce, right, by giving them subsidized employees. It's very hard to, they're dependent on them also. It's very hard to pull that person out because we want to give them a subsidized employment. We tell them you can hire them, right? And then you get into the conversation of limited resources. So, we're in this catch-22. So that's one barrier. The other barrier is in the nonprofit sector is just having employers think of older adults in a very different way. We were very lucky with DCAS in that we've trained and retrained all of the HR workers in the city workforce to let them know that part of their DEI and their recruitment includes aging. And so we've been very fortunate in that, and that's why the Silver Stars and all of those have opportunities. But outside of that world, we can't even get the state to do a comparable program with their employees. So there is this combination of ageism, lack of knowledge, and lack of desire. So what we're looking at now is incenting and showcasing, because nothing like a compliment, and showcasing those employers who have done well and creating some kind of something. to incent others to do as well, some kind of a recognition. You might want to partner with us in that,
Love to.
to be real, to showcase them as breakthrough. I hate that word but innovation, and that shouldn't even be that. It should be wise business practices.
I mean, I would even venture to say that probably most of the people making the decisions not to hire older people are older people themselves.
Internalized oppression happens.
Yeah, I mean, in the for-profit sector, if you think about like the CEOs and, folks who are managing directors and, anyway, just my own.
And it also could be limited
Personal
in the
theory.
nonprofit, not in the for-profit. A nonprofit, it's limited, their own resources, right? So they got free staff support, and now it's hard
Right.
to move that
Yeah,
away.
that I understand.
in the
Anybody wants free, labor.
Yeah,
I get that.
well,
Okay.
I do too, but
I mean, we all do, right? But, and I understand like the challenge or the balance of, partnering in a program that allows
Yeah.
for employment of somebody that you're not actually paying for versus,
yeah. But as a
investing in.
society, and I think that we are a city that could be prime for that, is to work with places like the Partnership for New York and get them to make a commitment
Yeah.
to look at this issue the broader way. I think
Yeah.
those are the kind of things that we need to move
Totally.
in terms of workforce.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, does NYC Aging currently operate or work out of any existing facilities to provide older adults with information about programming and services provided by or funded by the department? And this is with regards to preconsidered introduction regarding study and report on the feasibility of creating older adult information and service centers.
Well,
So just thinking about like physical locations, centralized locations.
yeah,
where
I know
people
you're
can get
looking for borough offices or
Yeah.
things of that nature. What I would say to that is, other than the partnerships we have with each one of our OACs and each one of our partners, we do not object to something borough-wide. I think there was, in the year of somewhere back there was one time borough offices. Although we are arranged by boroughs, many of our services are looked at by boroughs, so we do have a borough focus. That being said, that has a overhead requirement that has to come with that kind of a provision.
I know, that's why this is just a study. We're not trying to put the cart before the horse.
Right.
Okay, and then regarding the preconsidered introduction about a 10-year plan to support aging in place, can you describe NYC Aging's current long-term planning efforts to serve New York City's older adults and help older adults age in place?
I think we've discussed that at length, looking at the way we plan services, the way we look at services, comparing that with the growth and the demographic changes.
So you would be open to a 10-year plan, like outlining?
I don't think there is any objection to a 10-year plan. It is how is it that we would grow that incrementally, and what are the corresponding services that are required to make that a 10-year plan? You know that caregiving, home care, transportation are all part of that.
Right.
So it's looking at the investments in those areas
Yes.
also.
Yeah, we can't have a 10-year plan without investments for 10 years and beyond. Bear with me just one moment.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, I believe that concludes my questions. I'm now going to open the hearing for public testimony, and thank you so much, Commissioner. And I will just say, I know that you mentioned this in your testimony, and I know, obviously, we talk about all the time how I cared for my mother, you're currently caring for your mother, but I think that's also what brings great value to the work that we both do every day, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for
I'd like.
this. Just remember, I leave, but there's a team that listens to each
Yep.
one of these, okay, so that you don't think that we
Got
are
you.
not listening. All right.
I know you are.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Thanks to everyone for being here. Okay, I'm now opening the hearing for public testimony. I remind members of the public that this is a government proceeding and that decorum shall be observed at all times. As such, members of the public shall remain silent at all times. The witness table is reserved for people who wish to testify. No video recording or photography is allowed from the witness table. Further, members of the public may not present audio or video recordings as testimony, but may submit transcripts of such recordings to the Sergeant-at-Arms for inclusion in the hearing record. If you wish to speak at today's hearing, please fill out an appearance card with the Sergeant-at-Arms and wait to be recognized. When recognized, you will have 2 minutes to speak on today's oversight topic and related legislation. Thank you. If you have a written statement or additional written testimony you wish to submit for the record, please provide a copy of that testimony to the Sergeant-at-Arms. You may also email written testimony to testimony@council.nyc.gov within 72 hours of this hearing. Audio and video recordings will not be accepted. And I will turn it to the council to call the first panel. Thank you. Okay, just kidding. I'm calling the first panel. Tara Klein, Kevin Kaprowski, and Molly Krakowski. Tara, we can start with you and then just move down the line whenever you're ready. Or actually, sorry, whenever the sergeant's, oh, ready to go? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you for holding today's oversight hearing on the community care plan. My name is Tara Klein. I'm the Deputy Director of Policy and Advocacy for United Neighborhood Houses. UNH is a policy and social change organization that represents neighborhood settlement houses in New York. And our members run a lot of programs that serve older adults, including OACs, NORCs, home-delivered meals, and a lot of other things. UNH continues to support the core principles of the community care plan. We know that the older adult population is growing rapidly in New York City, and we need to build out and invest in the city's network of older adult services to match that growth. Through the opening of new centers and enhanced funding for existing programs, the community care plan has been a success thus far. The growing number of OACs and NORCs has been good for the city and its older adult population. Several UNH members have opened new OACs and NORCs thanks to that expansion, and they've built out those programs, and they've seen a large number of older adults receive essential services and social connection who otherwise would not have had that access. We continue to emphasize that there is a need for more funding to realize the plan's full vision, but it has been moving our city in the right direction to grow older adult services and investments. Now, unfortunately, it all comes down to money, right? And I'm so grateful for the line of questioning earlier about what's going on with the budget. What we know now is that there is a large fiscal cliff that begins in FY26. I also want to call attention that there have been several PEG cuts to NYC Aging's budget over the last several years in FY24, 25. There is one planned for FY27. There's a lot of confusion around what the numbers actually are, so thank you for helping us get to the bottom of those. But, you know,
I don't know that we did, but
thank you for
noted.
trying. We've also heard the COLA might be part of those numbers, so that's something else to look into. But, you know, it comes down to this. You know, we cannot take city agencies at their word that these funds are going to be restored. We heard promises that those funds were going to be put back in during the last budget hearing in May. They were not put back in June, and so we really need to make a big push to make sure those funds get back in. You know, we've heard that centers could close. We've heard the number 60 thrown around. Any programs that shrink or close are catastrophic for New York's older adult population who use those centers and services. And you know, we really need investments, not cuts. I think it's quite simple and clear. That is what we need. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. And then you just started to get into this a little bit, and I know, 2 minutes is a lot. We do obviously have the written testimony that will be submitted for the record, but I do want to just ask, you have a line here that says, "The Adams administration is sacrificing the goals of the community care plan by not addressing the fiscal cliff in New York City Aging's budget." Can you just talk a little bit more about that and any specifics that you can get into?
Yes, absolutely, and thank you for the extra time. I think that it's clear, these decisions are made, from the city, from the mayor's administration. We've actually seen many of the other agencies in the city that support children and youth and adults actually had a lot of their fiscal cliffs addressed in this last budget and some of their PEG cuts restored. We did have a couple of the PEGs restored for NYC Aging, but there are still existing cuts in there. And so, the budget decisions really make it clear that the mayor does not prioritize older New Yorkers. I think it's simple to see in the numbers.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much, Tara. Kevin?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kevin Kaprowski, and I'm the Director of Public Policy at Live On New York. Thank you so much for your continued work and for the opportunity to testify here. Just for context, Live On's members include more than 110 community-based nonprofits that provide core services under the NYC Aging portfolio and many other home and community-based aging services in our city. I just want to open by saying we all know what the problem is. The fact that the community care plan document was written years ago and outlines the fact that our demographics are changing and there's huge needs that comes with it means that the background I have written here is just kind of already accepted in this hearing. So that's good that we're all on the same page here. But we really need the mayor to make bold new investments now. I feel like for the past couple of years, we've been talking about a precipice, about a crisis that's coming. But I think we're kind of starting to hit that, especially when it comes to housing as an issue. I'm mentioning that with the community care plan because a lot of these services become moot if people don't have places to live. You can't have a home care aide if you don't have a home, which is a huge problem that we're facing. I mean, right now, the rate of homelessness for older adults is at an all-time high and growing at a rate 3 times higher than any other population. So one thing that we would recommend is that any future work with the community care plan in the next decade shows a lot more work with HPD to understand how we can ensure older adults can stay in their homes. Because without a housing component, there is no community. We're going to have a lot of folks on the street. We're also, just like Tara was talking about, fighting to make sure that we don't cut the already low budgets for any of our service programs. $80 million, $71 million, $121 million, any of those numbers for the fiscal cliff could catastrophic. The budget's $460 million. All of those are on an entire quarter of the budget. So we absolutely cannot make that cut. If we're talking about meeting the upcoming needs, we actually need an incredible investment, and Chair Hudson, you've called for this as well, and we're so grateful to have your leadership on this, is just doubling, tripling the DFTA budget and also all budgets for aging services. We're going to be doing a lot more work in that, so stay tuned for that. Next is creating a dedicated city pot of capital funding to keep centers in good repair. If you don't have a place to provide services, you can't provide services. A lot of centers, like Councilmember Banks was saying earlier, are falling apart and there's actually no way to repair them because, as our next recommendation says, capital funding rules don't actually allow people to get money. There's a lot of site control issues, which means that if you don't have specific leases with specific people, you can't actually get money. We have places who have gotten tens of millions of dollars from outside actors but can't use it through their DFTA contracts because of these arcane rules. So even if we are able to get a capital pot, we have to make sure people can use it. Otherwise, we're going to fall into the, oh, people aren't using money, so we have to take it away from them line that OMB loves to say so much.
Yep.
So we need to make sure, oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think we all are in that boat, too. The last 2 things I want to say is, one, we really need to look at our case management program. That was mentioned in the community care plan as well, but the reality now is different than 3 years ago, where we have some really high needs clients, and we have folks who are spending most of their times on clients who are released from the hospital to homes that have fallen apart, and then they're expected to do 72, 85 clients a year when they can't even meet the needs of that one client. So we're calling for a reassessment of the case management caseloads, down from 1 to 72, but also having a special program for high needs clients that gets as low as 1 to 20. And the last one is reforming nutritional programs to match the reality of those using them. I think we've really been fighting around the edges of nutrition issues over the last couple of years when we talk about increasing rates, but we really need to increase the number of meals. Homebound New Yorkers only get 5 meals a week from the city and are usually unable to get more food. And a lot of folks who go to centers, that meal is the only meal they get in a day. And I don't know about anyone else here, but I usually eat 3 meals a day, and we really need to take that seriously for everyone in our city, especially when we know that a lot of folks aren't getting any more food than that.
I'm just
So-
going to ask you to wrap up.
Yeah.
Since we're over.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
was just done there. So I was going to say
Okay.
thank you so much for the opportunity. I know that you're an incredible champion for aging, and we're so lucky that we get to work with you.
Thank
and
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Molly?
Hi, my name is Molly Krakowski. I'm Senior Director of Government Affairs at JASA, and I just thank you, Chair Hudson, and the committee for today's hearing. I'm going to jump right ahead since I have my two trusted friends here. JASA currently provides NORC supportive services among a million other services that we provide. I'm going to go straight to some of the specific intros today. We currently provide NORC supported services at 14 different locations, including 6 NORCs funded by New York State Office for the Aging and NYC Aging, 3 exclusively supported by New York City Council allocations, and then 5 that are a combination of Housing Partners and NYC Council discretionary grants. The range of services offered through NORC programs is comprehensive, addresses diverse needs of senior residents, and the services include everything from social programming, supportive counseling, assistance with benefits and entitlements, et cetera, and fostering intergenerational connections and acting as a platform for community building where neighbors can share skills, exchange wisdom, and actively combat ageism. JAS has a longstanding commitment to serving these unique communities, ensuring that older adults can age successfully in their homes. However, the traditional NORC model, which relies on a partnership between building management, social service agencies, nursing services, and residents, faces significant challenges. The requirements specifically for matching funds and in-kind services, as well as the high costs of nursing services, prevent barriers to expanding NORC programs to other communities that would greatly benefit from them. We've actively advocated, along with many of the people that you're seeing here, on both the city and state levels to support NORC programs, calling for the elimination of those unfunded mandates related to health and removing burdensome matches for funding requirements. JASA fully supports Intro 1022, sponsored by Councilmember Gutierrez and the chair, which mandates the needs assessment focused on NORCs throughout New York City. We believe strongly that NORC model improves healthy outcomes, reduces healthcare spending, and supports older adults to remain in their homes. We also support Intro 1025, introduced by Councilmember Hudson, about developing brochures and informational materials for programs to distribute to older adult centers and service providers. We've often encountered over the years older adults who are seeking employment opportunities, who've faced age discrimination, and are struggling to meet the rising cost of living in New York City. We also support the council members' Intro T 2024, which calls for a feasibility study on the creation of older adult information and service centers. In relation to Resolution 0452, which seeks to lower the age of eligibility for Older Americans Act funded services from 60 to 45 for individuals living with HIV. The services provided through OAA are vital to older adults. They offer support for nutrition, social engagement, and mental and economic health, and also provide security and legal protections. JASA recognizes that medical conditions such as HIV, along with challenging life circumstances like homelessness, chronic illness, prior incarceration, can contribute to premature or accelerated aging. However, it's just vital that any broadening of eligibility is matched with increased funding and resources to adequately support this wider population. And I'll just jump to support what everybody has said, which is basically without funding, almost none of this can happen. So we strongly encourage, we hope that we'll get all the numbers that have been promised to you, and that the conversations with OMB will become more transparent so that we can actually hear what's going on, and know that there's an infusion of cash to really support all of the wonderful and potential initiatives that are being put forward.
Thank you so much. And if you all haven't already, can you please email your written testimonies so we have them? Thank you. I'll thank you, thank all of you. I'm going to call up the next panel.
Thank you.
Adam Roberts, Linda Hoffman, Janine Cahill-Jackson, and Poling Eng. Okay, Adam, we'll start with you, and then we'll go down the line.
Thank you for holding this hearing today. I am Adam Roberts, testifying on behalf of the New York Apartment Association, also known as NIA. NIA is a newly formed trade group representing multifamily housing providers across New York City. Our members provide more than 1 million units of rental housing, most of which is subject to rent stabilization and built before 1974, meaning they do not receive 421A or other subsidies. We are here to testify on Intro 1022. New York's aging population is concentrated in its rent-stabilized housing. According to the 2023 Housing and Vacancy Survey, also known as the HVS, 31% of rent-stabilized households had older adults, higher than the share in free market units. Meanwhile, in many rent-stabilized households, tenants live alone and are disabled at 41% and 25% respectively. Unfortunately, the HVS does not show which cross-section of the population is older, alone, and disabled. However, it's safe to say it's a significant amount likely falls into all three categories. Since 2017, the city has had the Aging in Place Guide for building owners on how to design existing buildings, particularly affordable housing, for this segment of the population. These guidelines were written by the Department of Aging and are the first resource listed for multifamily building owners on HPD's website. Since the city already has data and design guidelines regarding senior housing, additional studies are unnecessary. Rather, they delay the need to take action. Seniors in rent-stabilized housing live in buildings that are increasingly defunded. The Rent Guidelines Board found in its 2024 income and expense study that by the end of 2022, over 10% of older rent-stabilized buildings were distressed, meaning that their expenses were higher than revenue. These buildings are also aging and require repairs. Looking at our own membership, the median building was built in 1922, over 100 years ago. These buildings were not designed with elevators, wide hallways, ramps, and other features necessary for aging in place. The longer the council waits to take action, the longer aging tenants will be stuck climbing the stairs or struggling to fit walkers through tight hallways. We look forward to working with the council to fund and renovate our senior housing, particularly the 300,000 rent-stabilized households with elderly residents. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And if I can just ask, the intent of this legislation is to identify which communities really need support. Do you have any sense, and this is something that you could potentially follow up with us on, but like which specific neighborhoods or communities in terms of the housing that you represent or the residents would be most in need?
Yes, I would say especially parts of the outer boroughs. The Bronx is a whole borough in particular, has a aging population, and its buildings are particularly defunded. There's a 20% drop in net operating income between 2021 and 2022. I'm sure if we were able to see the most up-to-date data, it would be far worse. Also parts of central southern Brooklyn, eastern Queens, and upper Manhattan, like Inwood, Washington Heights, also have this combination of aging residences and increasingly defunded rent-stabilized buildings.
Thank you very much. Linda? I think the microphone isn't on. If you just press the button there.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Linda Hoffman, President, New York Foundation for Senior Citizens. Chair Hudson, members of the Aging Committee, thank you for allowing me to present today. We at the Foundation are extremely grateful to each of you who, for the past, present, and hopefully future, will support our citywide home sharing and respite care program, which provides the only services of their type in the city. In accordance with the community care plan, our program services enable our city's older adults to remain in place in their own homes and communities, and by preventing their institutionalization in nursing homes and homeless shelters, our program services are both responsive to the city's housing crisis as well as providing significant annual savings to the city in Medicaid and other expenses. I could go on and explain home sharing and respite care, but I know the committee understands what it's all about because they've been always so supportive of it, especially illustrious chair who's been so helpful in supporting it, which we really appreciate. During the past 44 years, we have successfully matched over 2,500 persons and 1,200 shared living arrangements. And if it's someday it's appropriate, we would like to extend our home sharing services to asylum seekers and match them as guests in shared housing with older New York City residents. Our respite care service, again, it keeps people out of nursing homes. It's short-term in-home care for people above the Medicaid level at $18.55 a day. And I know we were talking about the different types of home care. It's actually filling a major gap because it's people who are spending down to receive Medicaid, and it's keeping them at home and rather than in institutions. So we, again, certainly support this community plan. It makes a lot of sense, and we're hoping that it will continue to be in place, that it will be approved, and we hope that it will be possible to continue funding for New York Foundation for Senior Citizens Home Sharing and Respite Care Program and other programs that are keeping people at home in the community. And thank you very much in advance for hopefully providing these desperately needed funds.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ho-Ling, good to see you again.
Good afternoon. First of all, I thank you, our lovely Honorable New York City Council Committee on Aging Chair Hudson and members. Thank you, first of all, my name is Ho-Ling Ng. I am director of the CPC Open Door Older Adult Center. Today, I really, on behalf of my program, and say thank you, my lovely Chair Hudson. You keep promise me because I remember that I testified on the March 8th here, talking about what is our problem. I opened because my program's name is Open Door. I opened the door and welcome you visit us. Definitely, you are very busy, but you still take times. And the June 19, you come to visit our center. So thank you. I thank you. After you visit our center, you really did understand what is our need. We are the huge facility. We had a huge number of our senior need the services. But the one thing I come over here, but still not resolve the problem yet. Just talking about the capital money. Because, our building is the former police headquarters. Building at 1909, but now is 115 years. This is landmark building. But because, thank you, everyone supporting of us. But the major thing, I really care of the senior health and senior safety. But now our main door is broken. We don't have money to fix. I asked the senator, I asked the congressman,
Sorry, you said the main door?
Yeah, main
door.
City council, everyone. But I don't blame on you, everyone. You try to do your best. Special department for the agent. Unfortunately, they send a lot of instructor, a lot of engineer come over. But they said that we don't have money. So that means, we still cannot resolve our problem. Because I really one day, someone break our door, then upstairs will kick us out. But that's how we provide the great service for our senior. That's my major concern. City Council, I know you have money. Because I checked.
You've been misled.
I checked the funding allocation, except Open Door, everyone get the money. So
But
that's
when I visited, I don't
no,
think the
no,
front
no.
door-
I checked. I do my homework.
No, I'm not disputing that. I'm saying, when I visited, I don't think the front door was broken.
Yeah,
It wasn't an issue at the time, so I'll definitely look into that, because that's about safety and security.
yeah. Because I try very hard to ask the people come over here. They said that you should replace, not repair. Repair only for the temporary, resolve the temporary problem. You should be, replace. Then you don't worry too much forever. So I find very hard. I go everywhere, to search the money. Unfortunately, still zero. No money. So how, even I work very hard, still cannot resolve the problem.
If you can just try to wrap up, polling, yeah.
Yeah, please, please, I know you had a good heart.
I will definitely look into
allocate us some money, for not only you and your team, care of our senior, the poor, elderly. The second, last time I talking about this questionnaire fund. Before Margaret Chan give us, and $86,000 a year regarding about the fix our facility and meet a lot of needy services. But this city council, our loved city council, Matai, just give us zero. Even I'm ready to him, I talk to him, he still give me zero. You think that's fair? That's unfair. Because Open Door is the huge private social service organization. We had a 53 years old history. We built our center since the 1972. But everyone treat us very well. But what's happening right now? No money, zero money. Our senior population is increasing. Our needy elderly is growing up. Why our budget from very good to the zero? So I very disappointed. I really, not because I know Hudson, you had the power. You not only had the woman's power, minorities power, you had the senior power. So could you help us and also your team?
Thank
you. Give us this questionnaire fund and also capital fund. Because I talked to the Dan Goldman. They said that this year is a very good year because they said that they had the money for the capital fund. But why Open Door get none?
Okay, so
even they had a lot of the capital fund. Open Door really care of our senior, need the money. Why we still get the zero fund?
That I cannot answer because you're referring to specific council members. I will follow up with my colleague, Councilmember Marte. I will also follow up with Congressmember Goldman. But I will look into the front doors because that is a very concerning issue that you've brought to my attention.
Yeah.
Discretionary funding is separate, but I will inquire. But I will focus on seeing if we can get the front doors fixed, okay?
Yeah, the main door is very important. I really someday someone to break in, then we be the homeless, okay?
Hopefully that doesn't
we
happen.
be the homeless.
Yes. Thank you so much for your testimony, Poling. Thanks for coming.
Thank you,
Okay.
thank you, your support. Thank you, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Good
And
help.
If you don't,
Thank you.
If you don't mind just moving the microphone over, I'm going to let Janine go next.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Hudson and members of the committee, and thank you for your commitment to enhancing health and safety and the quality of life for older New Yorkers. I'm Janine Cahill-Jackson, the Citywide Director of Elder Law with the Legal Aid Society. Legal Aid has a long history of providing eviction defense services to seniors in both the Bronx and Brooklyn. Currently, the Elder Law Unit is comprised of a multidisciplinary team specializing in eviction defense for seniors in both the Bronx and Brooklyn. Our team is comprised of attorneys, paralegals, and social workers, and we were recently able to expand our staff, doubling in each borough and expanding the amount of social work support each eviction defense attorney gets. And I just want to welcome many of our folks that are here with me today. We're working on building a specialization to help keep the most vulnerable older New Yorkers in their homes. We support all of the bills that are proposed today and acknowledge the consistent theme of helping older adults remain in the communities through strengthening and expanding the services that are available to them. I wanted to just note something that seemed really important to raise, because while these programs, the NORCs and the other enhanced services for older New Yorkers that are proposed, while they help them remain in place longer in many ways, something that's notably absent is rental assistance or affordability of the current usually long-term units. There continues to be an increase in the numbers of older adults entering the shelter system, and as such, it's crucial that rental assistance and the SCREE Rent Freeze program remain part of any plan to help seniors age in place. First, in regards to rental assistance, we call on the City Council to continue to support the implementation of Local Laws 99, 100, 101, and 102 of 2023, which I refer to as the City
Sorry,
Fence
can you just list those
expansion.
again? 99, 100? Local laws, 99, 100.
101 and 102
Thank
of
you.
2023. They're what I refer to as the City FEPS expansion, which removed the requirements that in order for a senior or any low-income New Yorker to obtain that rental subsidy, they either had to have a shelter history or an active APS case. There's a notable connection between the increase in services for folks to age in place, which helps them in many ways, but would actually render them even less eligible under the current regimen for City FEPS, which requires that they're in need of APS services. The other points I realize I'm at time that I wanted to raise was to call on City Council to work with state legislature to enhance the SCREE program to ensure true affordability of long-term regulated apartments. A few proposals are to set the legal regulated rent, to set the frozen rent at the rent amount the tenant pays when they turn 62, regardless of the year they apply. Additionally, to freeze the rent at an affordable amount. Often seniors at a particularly low fixed income are unable to afford their rent by the time they turn 62. So it's essentially frozen at a continuously unaffordable rate. Lastly, we request that it be explored to expand SCREE to be available to seniors who live in apartments who are now covered by the new good cause law. We'll be submitting written testimony to further explain all of those points, and we thank you for our opportunity to testify and for all the work that you do on behalf of older New Yorkers.
Thank you so much. And then you mentioned APS.
Yes.
And I know that in the recent MMR report, the mayor's report on management and mayor's management report, thank you. The MMR talked specifically about APS and fewer older adults specifically getting those resources. Are you able to talk about that at all and just like what you're seeing in terms of APS specifically? I know that's like not why you're here, but
I could definitely speak to that. I'm not sure if it gets to the number. Just a little clarification as to the number, because I'm not familiar with the report. It was that fewer older adults are qualifying for the services or applying for them. What was that?
I think the more or the same number are applying, but fewer are actually getting the resources. And then also, I think case managers have more people, which I guess is the reason why they're getting fewer resources. They just don't have the capacity to meet those needs.
Yes, so we are definitely seeing that on the ground. Specifically in our work trying to keep seniors in their apartments, it's often either, just as many of the proposals are aimed at, either getting them the services, so once their rent is paid, they can sustainably stay in place, and or to also get the City of Hemp's rental subsidy. So very often we're advocating to try and get our clients APS services, and it has become increasingly harder to do so, even when on the face of it they do meet the qualification standards. And so it's only through perhaps often a second or third referral and advocacy on behalf of the clients that we're able to get the cases approved. So I would say no doubt if you were a senior that didn't have a legal advocate on your side, helping you to navigate the system and advocate on the behalf of your referral, I would likely see many more denials.
And then, again, I apologize. I know this isn't like why you came, but I just want to, if you're able to answer or at least give some perspective, then I want to take the opportunity to get that. We're seeing from the report a 19% drop in referrals. Do you know if folks are being given reasons for being rejected for referrals?
So I can only speak in terms of the folks that are our clients, and also that subsequently become our clients. At times there have been APS referrals, perhaps the court is involved or a GAL, and then once legal aid, they become a client of legal aid, we're maybe informed that there were one or two referrals before we came on the case. In our experience, the senior isn't always given the written form, and often we are able to get the information, if we're able to get it, regarding why the case was denied, through speaking directly with the directors of the borough offices in APS. So we're not seeing actually the completion of the form as to why they were denied. Sometimes they will receive the form saying they were denied, but no reason is provided.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you
very
all
much.
for your testimony. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then moving to Zoom, we have Callie Thompson and Darcy Connors. You can you can wait for the Sergeant at Arms to call your time before testifying.
You may begin.
Callie Thompson.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, my name is Kylie Thompson, and I represent Ocean Bay Community Development Corporation. We're a social service agency that has proudly served the Rockaway community for over 20 years. I am honored to testify today regarding New York City Agents Community Care Plan and the critical need for continued funding for older adult centers. As the director of the Older Adult Center, a New York City aging provider, I understand firsthand how vital it is for our aging adults to have a welcoming, home-like facility where they can embrace their quality of life. Today, I want to emphasize the urgent need to safeguard our seniors' futures by preventing budget cuts and the potential closures of many older adult centers across the New York City. I want to thank you for recognizing that support for the aging population is needed throughout the city. However, I am here to focus on the aging population of the Rockaways. The Rockaway community, which is Community District 14, is an 11-mile-long peninsula. It is a majority minority community that has endured the brunt of decades-long degradation and disenfranchisement. The Rockaways residents often experience more intense effects as evidenced by the disparate impacts of Superstorm Sandy in 2012 and Ida in 2021. Capital projects designed to restore infrastructure damaged by Storm Sandy and to improve the area's resilience to storms and other climate events are still ongoing. Residents face numerous hardships and barriers, including limited access to quality food, reliance on a single subway line for transportation, and frequent delays in housing repairs, just to name a few. Also, because of its geological position and years of disenfranchisement, our growing aging population experiences these factors daily and utilizes the services provided through our Older Adult Center program as a means of combating their circumstances. Our Older Adult Center at Arvern offers quality programs for I'm sorry?
Your time is expired, but you can just wrap up, and then we'll have it, you can submit your written testimony
you have
for
it
the record.
written.
Yeah.
I just wanted to emphasize the fact that I Our growing population, our aging population is growing. Okay, and more funds are needed to be invested in older adult centers and ensure we continue providing essential services and support, helping seniors maintain their independence, health, and well-being. Without investments, we risk leaving our most vulnerable population without the care and sense of community they deserve. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Kali. We'll move to Darcy Connors. You can unmute yourself and wait for the sergeant to call time.
You may begin.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Hudson and committee members. Thank you first and foremost for offering a hybrid version of testimony, as our older adults enjoy as well. Someone who's dealing with some cold symptoms today, I appreciate the opportunity to testify on behalf of Sage Serves. My name is Darcy Connors. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the executive director of Sage Serves, serving the needs of older LGBTQ+ adults in New York City. We're particularly committed to ensuring that older adults, including those from marginalized communities, can age with dignity, access to care, and opportunities for full participation in society, whether that be virtual or in person. I'd like to express our support today for 3 critical pieces of legislation that were raised here: introduction number 1022, introduction number 1025, and resolution number 452. Each of these measures will help advance the well-being of older adults in our city, but I'll focus the bulk of my testimony on resolution number 452, which holds immense importance for individuals aging with HIV. We support introduction number 1025, which aims to ensure older adults receive clear information about employment discrimination and workforce programs. As we know, in our older adult centers in Sage Center Bronx, Eckrich Pride House, and Sage Center Brooklyn at Stonewall House, in your district, council member and chairperson, the older adults in those communities who are identifying as LGBTQ+ face barriers to employment due to ageism, also compounded by homophobia and transphobia. Latest research from Sage found that 50% of LGBTQ+ elders 55+ believe they will have to work in their retirement years and significantly longer than their heterosexual and cisgender counterparts. Having clear, accessible resources will not only help them navigate these challenges, but also connect them with the programs that can provide financial sustainability and foster a sense of purpose as they age. I would encourage you also to consider that when older adults enter the workforce, it may jeopardize access to programs that are financially restricted. Sorry.
Your time is expired, but you can wrap up.
Okay,
and we'll have
thank
your written
Thank you,
testimony.
Chairperson.
Thank you.
Yes, written testimony is attached. Again, firsthand dealing with LGBTQ+ adults living with HIV, many are isolated. Lowering eligibility age for access to programs to the age of 45 will help reduce that stigma. I urge Council to pass the measures that were discussed today and continue to lead in the way in supporting our aging population across all communities. Thank you for your time and commitment to our elders.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to open for anyone else who might be on Zoom or here in person to testify. Okay, seeing no one. I would just like to thank everybody who testified today. Thank you to Commissioner Cortez Vasquez and also to the council staff here to make today's hearing possible. It's my hope that we will have more specific answers with regards to funding streams and making sure that initiatives like the Community Care Plan can continue to the best of their ability. So thanks again, and this meeting is adjourned.